Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is Fame with Tiffany Renee, aka The Golden Seat Life. If you're new to my channel, welcome. If you have been here before, welcome back. Thank you for stopping by. I know I look a little dewy for some reason. I stepped out for a second to get a Slurpee, and even though it's really late right now, so it's still a little humid outside, but didn't even bother to. I just look shiny a little bit from a little bit of the humidity for like the 10 minutes I was I went to get my Slurpee. But on this channel, we talk everything about metaphysics, quantum physics, spirituality, things of an esoteric nature, things about manifestation and all the universal laws and everything that encompasses this journey of life that we are all on together. Welcome, welcome, welcome to another video with yours truly. I'm incredibly grateful to you all. Feel free to like, share, and subscribe if the spirit moves you. I love how the community is growing, and I just want us to keep growing more and more and more. Please feel free to leave me a comment if you want me to talk about something in particular. I'll be more than happy to. I want to make sure that I'm catering to you all and giving you content that you're interested in. I have changed up my playlist. I added a playlist, I should say, where all of my manifestation success stories for like my concerts, a lot of my concert videos are on that playlist on my YouTube channel now. So they're all going to be in one place, including the new one that I recorded a couple days ago. And I've got 2 more coming out this week as well that I'm going to share with you. Pretty incredible manifestation success concert stories. One about the incomparable Janet Jackson, and another one about when I went to see TLC. So those are coming later in the week. I'm also going to be, throwing in some shorts as well, giving you all some upliftment and encouragement and some reminders and some affirmations and, occasional posts here and there, just to keep you all high vibrational. And I've got a Patreon coming, and I'm going to add some more content there, more in-depth content, especially when it comes to like my concerts, manifestations, and some techniques and things like that I use. And I'm also going to create a website that you all will be able to go to when it's done. And I'm going to have my ebook, Pounds Down, Forks up there, as well as along with a new ebook I am going to be working on that's about my concert experiences, and it'll be helping anyone who's interested in concert manifestation and just up leveling to more of some VIP type status stuff. That ebook will probably be a good one for you. And I'm also considering adding some courses and things like that too. So lots of things on the horizon here, here with Fame. Okay. And stay tuned. It's going to be a good time. It's going to be a good time. So this video, I wanted to shift gears a little bit from my concert videos because I was listening to Juliette Clary, and who I love. I love her channel a lot. And she had a recent video that, she was kind of reminding us about choices and how nothing in reality is real, and that the only thing that's real in your reality is you. And that we are actually emanating our reality. We're projecting, and our reality is just a result of what we're projecting from the inside, what we really think and how we really feel, and pretty much what we perpetuate, like what we're consistently thinking of, consistently vibrating, and consistently thinking and believing. That is what we see. And she really drove home the truth that everything is a choice, that we always have a choice. And I know I've said this in some of my other videos, and you've probably heard it from other amazing coaches and other YouTube channels as well, where they talk about everything is a choice. Even when it looks like you don't have a choice, you still have a choice. And the biggest choice, which is what she was talking about, is, because I mentioned this in my last video about my concert experience with seeing Busta Rhymes and 50 Cent and Jeremiah and all that, is when you're faced with something, okay, you are just being presented with the scenario or with the situation or with the person's outburst or whatever it is. You always have a choice of how you want to respond. And not just how you want to respond, but if you want to even accept what's being presented to you. And that's really what I want to talk about in this video, and I won't make it too long, but it really, really had me thinking, because I realized that I was using that when I was at that concert. And if you go back and watch the video, I tell you the story about the after party situation and how, you know, there was another young lady who I was calling Miss Gorgeous and how she got chosen to go to the after party to get taken by, you know, the crew. One of the team people took her because she was Miss Gorgeous. She was snap, crackle, pop, okay? And I was hot, looking a mess. Hot, sweaty, nearly passing out, okay? And we were, you know, next to each other, and his interaction with she and I was completely different based off of aesthetic alone. You know what I mean? Like, he wasn't rude to me or anything, but the energy was very clear that it was like she was the chosen one in that moment for obvious reasons, right? And I had to decide in that moment, I had to choose. Okay, this is the situation here. How are you going to feel? How are you going to react? And once I decided how I was going to react, like what was I going to accept? Am I going to accept that I'm not chosen? That's the first question. Are you going to accept that you're not chosen? And the second question would be, what are you going to do now that you've decided if you're going to accept it or not? So I was like, okay, I don't accept that I'm not chosen. I immediately started affirming, I'm always chosen. I'm always chosen. In my reality, I'm always chosen. And bless. I mean, she 100% deserves to be at the after party. 100%. Because she's fabulous. And instead of me wallowing, because I felt the slight sting of that 100%. You know what I mean? Because it's a little stingy. I felt it, but I didn't dare dwell in it or stay there. My next response to myself was, I'll see her there. I'll see her at the after party. I'll see her there. That's what I decided. I chose to acknowledge a reality where I was already chosen and that I was already going to be at the after party as well. And if you watch the rest of the video, I tell the story how incredibly I did end up at the after party, escorted in by Busta Rhymes himself, the iconic rapper. Okay. So, and I saw Miss Gorgeous in the VIP as well, where I was escorted in with the entertainer himself. Do you see what I'm saying? Because I chose and I activated a timeline where that already happened. So I want to dig deeper with this because I saw something on social media and it wasn't necessarily what someone would consider warm and fuzzy. It wasn't necessarily positive per se. You know what I mean? Um, and the person who posted it obviously felt very angry about it and expressed themselves because they have a right to do that. But I looked at it and I said, okay, this is the way Juliette Cleary said, okay, this is an opportunity. This is an opportunity to decide, how do I want to choose? This situation is an opportunity to choose. Am I going to subscribe to this? Am I going to believe this? Am I going to subscribe to it? Am I going to fuel this? Am I going to add more energy to this? Am I going to agree with this and make it permanent? You know what I mean? Or, and I follow that timeline. Or am I going to choose where I don't have to subscribe to this? Where, no, I don't believe this. Or, no, I'm not choosing this for my reality. I'm not choosing to see stuff like this in my reality. And I look to a different reality, a different timeline where that doesn't exist or that's not happening. I mean, I can honor and respect what is happening because it's part of the multiple timelines that exist. It has to be there. It's not going to go away. It has a right to be there. But I don't have to walk on that timeline where that situation or that circumstance is happening. I can simply choose an alternative timeline where that is not happening and that is not existing for my reality. And I will see no evidence of it. Now, that person might still see so much evidence of that. It might get worse. And that person will probably see it getting worse. But if I reject that, and I only look at the timeline where that doesn't exist, not in my reality, that doesn't exist. And I'm looking at the reality where that doesn't exist at all, then I'm going to be receiving so much evidence to support its non-existence. And I will never see any form of evidence of it in my world and everything that surrounds my world. Do you see what I'm saying? So that's the question that I want to ask. What are you choosing? And are you choosing wisely? Are you choosing what you really want to see in your life? Are you choosing what you want to call forth into your life? Are you choosing what you really want to manifest? Like, are you really, really, genuinely choosing your peace, love, wholeness, happiness, wellness, abundance, harmony? You know what I mean? Thriving for you, for all people, for the world, for the planet and all that. What are you choosing? Or are you choosing chaos, poverty, just shambles, toxicity, more and more power hungry people, power tripping people, more oppression? Or like, are you choosing that, whether you know you are or not? Because you're always choosing. And everything that you choose, whether you are consciously aware that you are choosing it or not, it is a choice that is being made, and it is being imprinted onto the quantum field as data to say, hey, this is what this person wants to see. And those things have an energetic vibration. And because of the way God created the universe, all the universal laws that govern Earth, one of them being law of attraction is going to go fetch all of those circumstances that match that vibration of what you are emanating based on the choices that you are making and where they land on the vibrational scale. Based on what you are thinking, what you think is true, and what you believe to be true. and what you assume to be true and what you are expecting in your life and in the world around you. It cannot be any other way. There are no exceptions for this. There is no, okay, yeah, well, I know it was manifesting, but things just happen. No, things don't just happen. That's not how it works. That's not how God created the universe to work. That's not how energy works. Things don't just happen. Things have to be initiated. Like there's nothing out there. There is no out there. And this has already been proven. Quantum physics has proven this. Vadim Zeland, reality transurfing, has proven this. There is nothing out there. Joe Dispenza talks about this as well. There is nothing out there. We only see, I believe it's like 0.00001% of what is actually out there. Like that's all we see. There's 99.999% that is just empty space. That is what we are projecting onto. So in order to even have a life, to have anything solid and tangible to see, to look at, to experience, to be mad at, to push against, or to be joyful and to want to experience, it has to come from our minds. People have to be projecting it. People have to be thinking it hard enough to where it hardens into matter, into material, and then it becomes a thing. Then it starts in the mind. Einstein talked about it. Nikola Tesla talked about it. Neville Goddard talks about it. Everything starts with the imagination. Everything starts in your mind. You imagine it, you think about it over and over and over and over and over and over again. And it solidifies itself. You think about it, it's always on your mind. You talk about it, you tweet about it, or you text it. You're just constantly, it's everywhere. You're constantly complaining about it, or you're just whatever. And it gets solidified. It becomes a 3D situation. It becomes a thing. And then the more people that focus their attention on that thing, it becomes bigger and bigger and bigger, because energy flows where attention goes, right? And then when it gets to a certain mass, it then becomes a pendulum. What is called a pendulum. And a pendulum is when it is its own energy entity that kind of takes on a life of its own. And then it just utilizes people to just keep sucking the energy so it can stay alive, literally, because it becomes its own energy source. And it could be positive pendulums, negative pendulums. Everything is a pendulum. Please check out Vadim Zeland when he talks about pendulums and explains pendulums. I think it had me a little disturbed the first time because I was just looking at everything like, oh my God, that's a pendulum and that's a pendulum. You know what I mean? And I didn't want to be paranoid about pendulums, but they're everywhere. And it's just energy, but just big energy. You know what I mean? And energy that has the ability to influence people, positive or negative. Also, Brian Scott, The Reality Revolution here on YouTube, has a wonderful video about when he talks specifically about pendulums and egregores and things like that. It's so fascinating. The universe is so fascinating. It's so vast. And, we think as human beings that we actually really know stuff. We don't know anything. Like we really don't know. In the grand scheme of things, we're like this big, right? In this massive universe. And it's like, how dare we think that we really know stuff? Like we only know what we know, which is just limited by what we know. But we, in the grand scheme of things, really don't know much, right? Now, our higher self Our spirit self knows a whole lot more. But this human version of ourselves, you know what I mean? It seems like we're always kind of trying to seek that higher sense of knowing, um, to expand our mind, our human minds more. You know what I mean? At least I am. But the point is, there was always a choice. What are you choosing? What are you choosing when you talk about yourself? What are you choosing when you talk about your body, when you talk about your relationships, when you talk about your job? And I'm aware that I don't always choose the things that serve me. I am 100% aware of that. I do not always choose what serves me. And I see that because it materializes in my 3D reality. And then I'm like, okay, I really need to clean up what self-talk or whatever I've been saying on autopilot when it comes to this, and this, because it's now shown up in my 3D reality. Sometimes it shows up a lot. So I'm like, okay, well, this is a pattern. This is a pattern of thoughts that keep showing up. It's a pattern of expectation that keeps showing up, that I keep choosing over and over and over again, that I'm not even aware that I'm still choosing. Once you become aware of what you're choosing and how you're choosing, you can be more mindful. And when you're more mindful of what you're choosing, you start making better choices, because you're aware that there is no out there. There is nothing out there that is controlling anything in your life. Contrary to popular belief, there is nothing out there, because there is no out there. Out there does not exist. It's only empty space, and we are creating the out there. And the out there seems very real. The experiences are very real, but they are real as a result of something that we are projecting. We are creating it. It's like if it's something that's like, if something is horrible that's going on or whatever, like say like a horror movie or something, you know what I mean? If you feel like, oh my gosh, my life is like a horror movie, then it's only a horror movie because that's what's running on the projector. You know what I mean? Like you're putting in the horror movie in the projector, and it's running and it's projecting the horror movie. If you don't want to watch the horror movie, then you would take the horror movie out of the projector and you would put in a romantic comedy, if that's what you want to watch, right? And let that run. And then it'll go out on the projector, the romantic comedy. But the space that the light hits, goes from the projector lens to the screen, like all of that space, it's the nothingness. It's like the quantum field. It's just projecting what you're giving out, and the screen is the result of it. We literally are seeing, whether you're seeing something that you love and circumstances that you're loving, or versions of people that you're loving, or you're seeing things that you don't like, or things that are scaring you, or versions of people that you don't appreciate. You know what I mean? All of that, it's still coming from what we're thinking the most about each one of those things. Do you see what I mean? So like if, I don't know, let's say if there's something like major happening like in your city or whatever, then if it's something that happens consistently and it's just getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, it would probably be beneficial to take a look at, what are you as an individual saying and thinking and feeling about that situation that is happening in your city that's getting bigger? Are you contributing to it? Are you subscribing to it? Are you agreeing with its ugliness or whatever it is? Or are you choosing? Because remember, we don't change things. There's no changing. We don't try to change anything. And many, many incredible manifestation teachers and coaches have said this multiple times, that there is no changing. And quantum physicists have said this. You cannot change anything. What's done is done. Like, you can't change anything because creation is done, and all creation is done, and all creation includes every single possibility and probability that could possibly exist for you in your reality based on what you believe is possible and probable for you. You can't change anything or anyone. There is no changing. So the idea that we've all been taught, myself included, and we even say it a lot. We say the word, oh, I have to change, or, oh, they need to change, or, so-and-so needs to change, or whatever. We say that word change a lot, but in reality, there is no changing. Nobody changes. You just embody or become or observe a different version of you. You become a different version of yourself, or you look at or you observe a different version of your SP, or you observe a different version of your city or your country or your job or whatever, you know what I mean? And in that observation, you will be guided to take inspired action. You know what I mean? Let's say if you're at a toxic work environment and you choose to observe yourself, or observe a timeline, or observe a better job, or observe a timeline where your job is a wonderful environment, the path of least resistance for you may come up as your inspired action to just leave that job. But you'll feel that, and it will feel natural, and it'll feel like, okay, this is what I'm supposed to do. And you'll leave that job. And once you do, another opportunity will be waiting for you. Like, you'll know that this is what I was supposed to do. Right? But there is no changing anything. And I think, think about how many times we've tried to change people we're in relationships with. And we tell them that, okay, well, you need to change. And they might make adjustments for a couple of months, and then it falls apart. And then they can't stay there, because that's not who they are. That's not who that version of them is. That version of them is supposed to be, I don't know, whatever they have going, is supposed to be not thoughtful, or it's supposed to be selfish, or it's supposed to be, doesn't value you, or whatever. Like, that version of them, that's who they're supposed to be. Because your SP, every version of them that could possibly exist, also exists for them. Right? And so, for whatever reason, you attracted the version of them that you attracted based on where you were vibrating. So they were just simply in vibrational alignment to you. So then you have to ask yourself, what am I vibrating? What do I think about myself? What am I saying to myself that's causing me to attract this version of this person? And what do I think about myself? What am I thinking about me? Or what do I think about relationships in general? Do I just not trust relationships? Or, you know what I mean? And is there a reason why? And you may have to do some digging with that. And this is not saying that because nobody's wrong. I've had multiple relationships back in my 20s, that didn't work. And there was a time when I blamed myself, you know what I mean? But as I got older, and I really, just had a lot of time to be alone and a lot of self-reflection, and just learning more, I was like, no, I got the versions of them based on the version of me back then. I'm not saying that they were right in some of the things they did and said to me. I'm not condoning any of that mess, not one bit. I'm not condoning any of that. But what I am saying is the version of me who attracted that person, it was a vibrational match because of how I felt about myself. Remember, the universe doesn't give you what you want, it gives you what you are. So I know what I felt about myself really on the inside. And I attracted partners that were mirroring to me exactly how I felt about myself on the inside. And they treated me the way I already felt. They just mirrored it back to me. They literally were just the 3D manifestation of how I was talking to myself on the inside, of what I already believed to be true about me when it came to relationships and partnerships. That was the version of me that existed at that time. But when you start to grow and you start recognizing your worth and your value, you start talking to yourself differently. And then when you start moving into a different timeline and you've now stepped into a different version of you, a version of you that recognizes their worth, that recognizes their value, a version of you that knows that you deserve better. And that version of you is lighter, it's more joyful, it's happier, it's higher vibrationally. And so therefore, the next SP that you attract is going to match how you now feel about yourself. And you will start to think like, oh my God, I hit the jackpot with this person. Oh my gosh, this person is just like the most loving person I've ever had. It's more so like you are now the most loving version that you've ever had. And your SP is just mirroring that love back to you that you feel inside. Everything is you pushed out. Everything is you pushed out. What you think about everything, you are going to be given evidence to support it. If you think something is horrible and people are doing messed up things, you are going to get so much evidence to support that. If you think things are great and things are always working out and people are wonderful and they're pushing towards the betterment of everything, you are going to get so much evidence to support that. That's why every single one of us have completely different perspectives when it comes to life. None of us are living on the same planet. It appears that way, but none of us see the same thing the same way. None of us have the same reactions all the time, even if maybe we're both shocked. If two people are shocked at something, they're not even shocked in the same way. They don't feel the shock the same way. Do you see what I mean? So bringing this back around to choice, we are always choosing. We're always choosing. You can reject anything that you don't like. You can reject any timeline that you are not vibrating with, that you don't align with anymore. You don't have to just keep force feeding yourself things just because that's what you're used to, or it's because it's easier, or because that's what you just always done that. You've always done that, or because it seems logical or it seems rational to do. Forget all of that, because none of that matters. In the grand scheme of things, that really doesn't matter when you are projecting out your own reality, when reality isn't really real anyway. There's this wonderful definition of reality, and I want to say maybe it was Tom Caron from Be Something Wonderful who may have quoted it. I can't remember. But anyway, it says, paraphrasing, but reality, the definition of reality is something that does not change. The definition of reality is something that does not change. Reality never changes. So everything around us changes. Everything around you is changing, which means none of it can be reality. Reality never changes. So what is the one thing that never changes? Your inner being. The part of you that you can't physically see. That never changes. That is the only real that exists. That's the reality. God, the creator, all the universal laws, they never change. That's the only reality. Do you see what I'm saying? So everything else that you see, none of it is real. Isn't that crazy? But it's also pretty awesome. Morpheus in the first Matrix movie said that to Neo, because Neo said, well, none of this is real. And Morpheus said, well, what is real? If you're defining real as something that you can smell, see, taste, or touch, then it's just electromagnetic signals going to your brain. That's all that is. But that's not really real, right? He's absolutely right. That's what this is. We're just, our senses create the illusion that all of this is real because it's sending the signals to our brain. It's sending all the electromagnetic signals to our brain because our senses are activated. But none of it is real. And that is a wonderful thing, because that means we can choose what we want to see. We can choose. We can choose whatever we want. I have chosen things and done things that it's like there's no logical explanation for it other than the fact that I've literally just been choosing different timelines. I've literally just been hopping timelines like we always do. We're always weaving in and out of timelines all the time. But that's really there was a time when I know that's the only way I was even surviving, by just weaving in and out of timelines. And I'm like, oh, I see this negative thing. Nope, that doesn't apply to me. I'm looking at this. Nope, not in my world. I'm looking at this. Nope, not in my world. I'm looking at this. And when I tell you, by doing that, it was some incredible changes. That was how, I don't even want to say changes. There were just some incredible things that were transpiring in my life because I was choosing differently. I was looking at the results of my choices because I refused to look at that I did not like, that I did not want. And I was only looking at and calling forth and activating the things that I did want, focusing. If those things try to creep in, I see you, but no. I see you, but I don't choose you. I choose this. I see you, and I respect your right to be there. As Tom Karen says, you have a right to be there, but I'm not choosing you. I'm choosing this. And you keep choosing it. And you keep choosing it. And you keep choosing it. And you're going to be shifted into the timeline where that is all that exists. I'm telling you from personal experience. Like, I hope I've been explaining it right, because I'm not a quantum physicist, okay? So I can't explain it the way Joe Dispenza, Dr. Joe, explains it. I can't explain it the way Noah Goddard explains it. And he's not a quantum physicist, but he explains metaphysics very well. I can't explain it the way Nikola Tesla explains it, or the way even certain aspects that Einstein explained it. The way Vadim Zeland explains it brilliantly. I can't explain it the way they do, but this is how I understand it based off of all of that information that I have received by listening to their books and their lectures and et cetera, et cetera. This is my interpretation. This is how I'm processing all the data and how I'm understanding it. So that being said, I meant for this to only be like a 15 or 20-minute video, and we're at 40 minutes again because I love talking to you all about this stuff. But it's just because I care, and I really, really want you all to understand it and to know that just because something is presented to you that's ugly on a platter, you don't have to receive it. You can just acknowledge it and say, okay, I see you, but I know that you are one out of almost infinite probabilities and possibilities that exist right now. You're not the only possibility. This is not the only circumstance, this is not the only outcome. This is one of maybe almost trillions of outcomes. And so I'm going to choose a different outcome. I'm just going to choose a different one. I'm going to choose one where this is not a thing. Thanks. And so I'm just going to keep looking at, I'm just going to say, okay, this doesn't apply. Actually, I know there's a timeline that exists where this is not even up for discussion and all is well. And everything is working out for everybody. Okay, I know that timeline exists. So that's the one I'm looking at. That's the one I'm looking at when it comes to this. Yeah, and it's great. Oh my gosh, I'm so grateful for that timeline. I'm so grateful for that. I'm so grateful that it exists. And you bask in the gratitude for that. And you act as you act like that. Like you follow that timeline. You behave like it. You talk about it. You know what I'm saying? Because it already exists. You look at it and it gets activated. The other one, the stuff that you don't want to see, it only exists because people looked at it and it got activated. And then people kept looking at it. And so it keeps getting activated and it gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. Don't look at it anymore. Don't look at it. Look at the alternate timeline that you do want, where that's not happening, or where they're not there, or where that version of the person is not there anymore. And you look at the version of the person that you do want. You just said, oh, okay, I don't like that version, but there is a version that I do like, and that has whatever, or is whatever. And that's the version that I'm choosing to acknowledge. No matter what I see, contrary to what I'm seeing with my eyes, with my two eyes, that's irrelevant. I'm going by what I see here. Okay? And I'm done. I'm done. Your mind's eye is your reality. This is the real eye. Your mind's eye. This is the truth. This is the illusion. This is the truth right here. Your imagination, that's your reality. You look at it in your imagination and you will move to that timeline. You persist in that. You commit to that. And you'll see. And you will see that you will start seeing. You'll be like, wait a minute. What? It's like magic. It really is. That is the key. That is the key to real transformation for us as individuals, as a species, for the entire planet. That is the key. Only observe the timelines of the things that you actually want. The other ones will fall away. That's it. Love you all. Feel free to like, share, subscribe. More videos are coming next week. Talk about more concert manifestation success stories. And I love you all. And we got this. We got this. Okay? I'm here for you. Okay? We got this. All right? Take care. And I'll see you next time.